This is way worse than we thought. We have quite a shocking update on Matthew Stafford, as well as Kyren Williams having some problems in camp on a certain side of the offense. And all that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before we get into this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We are just under 30 away now from 4K, so make sure to hit that subscribe button so we can hit our goal of 4,000 subscribers, and turn on that notification bell right underneath and click all so you get notified and do not miss any daily new Rams Digest videos covering all things Rams. It's great to be back here on the channel. Had quite the busy week to where I didn't have the time to record videos, but I am back now, so we are back on the regular schedule here for this channel. Everything is okay with me. There's no serious emergency, just want to clear that up, but now we are back and better than ever, ready to go. I'm excited to be back. Like this video now. Josh and I are back making content together consistently because we have big plans for this NFL season. And now to our main story of today's video about Matthew Stafford and the Rams' overall injury report. And this is brought to us from Ramblin' Fan. It's never fun when the first injury reports start appearing out of the Los Angeles Rams training camp. Whether serious or not, the absence of potential contributors always seems to dampen the tone and optimism of fans. But perhaps the more frustrating part of training camp injuries is the way the team reports them. Yeah, I understand where this article is coming from. The way that teams do report on injuries in camp is quite interesting. It's not like the regular season, because obviously they're going to be on track to play Sunday, or they're going to have to miss the Thursday game but play the next week's Sunday game or something like that. So I definitely agree that it is a little bit interesting the way they report injuries here in camp. Since it's not mandated, reporting is sporadic at best. Fans often hear when a player is injured, but little is said about when the player recovers. It's a bit ambiguous and leads to a bit of confusion among fans. After all, hearing the negative without the positive is a bit biased towards bad news, right? Yeah, I do agree with this as well. Again, that there's a lot of negativity around so many different things, and it is always best to be positive if you can. Obviously, if someone's out for the year, which we hope is not the case for the Rams, or any team for that matter, knock on wood for that in any sport, but if that is the case, that's obviously not great news. But when it is a less serious injury, it is important to make sure that that is said and that these players will be able to be okay, not just as players, but as people off the field of play or surface of play as well. But now we do have Sarah Barshop, a Rams insider over on X, gave a bit of an insight of this new injury update report from the Rams today after their practice. And it's less than likely that QB Matthew Stafforf will practice on Tuesday against the Cowboys. And these updates are from Sean McVay. And tight end Terrence Ferguson with a groin injury and defensive tackle Kobe Turner with a back injury were held out of practice. And star linebacker of camp and star player Nate Landman left practice with a little bit of a calf injury. And Landman was wearing that green dot earlier on this week throughout practice, and that is definitely a big loss if he does have to miss some time. The Ferguson and Turner injuries being a little newer, again, if these are minor, don't really concern me. The Matthew Stafford thing is interesting because we don't know what this means in terms of will he miss the entire week, or is he just going to not be back by Tuesday? Because if he's back Wednesday doing practices, then he's back, we're all good. But if he does have to miss another week of practice, we're starting to get to that point of it's getting important for him to just do some form of reps. Even if he's not doing 11 on 11, he's only doing 7 on 7s with no pads or something like that. It is getting to a point where my concern level before I had my little break here was around a 2 out of 10, but now it's probably up to around a 3.5, 4 out of 10 with this injury. I'm slightly getting more concerned about it the more time he does miss practice. So comment that down below right now. What are your concern levels? And that's why in one of my previous videos, I was very shocked that Stetson Bennett was not on the roster because of this. And the more time that Stafford misses, the more likely the Rams are to keep Stetson Bennett. And we will see on this coming Saturday how Bennett will play, most likely, as he'll get a lot of reps, most likely, in that preseason game. But we do also have some injury updates to go over here from Ramblin' Fan as well from today from Sean McVay. Rob Havenstein, having that offseason shoulder surgery, has no limitations, which is really, really good to see throughout training camp because he's someone who's a key on that right tackle side of the offensive line, and we know here coming up right underneath him, Alaric Jackson, the left tackle, his blood clots, he's week to week. It's good that he's out there just doing anything right now. So we'll yet to see if he'll play in week 1, but based on the looks of it, this looks like he will play most of the games this upcoming season, barring any setbacks or future injuries, and we'll knock on wood again, that does not happen. And obviously Matthew Stafford's back soreness is week to week. And now we have some other injuries to get into. We have inside linebacker Poole Paul Jr., who got hurt last week with that calf injury, is still on that slow recovery path, which is a little bit concerning. Again, we'll see what that means once we get to another 2 weeks from now, what type of progress he's made, because calf injuries, depending on the severity, do take time to heal, just like all injuries do. But this is definitely a big deal for him, considering he is a rookie, a 5th-round pick coming into this team, wanted to make an impact. Troy Reeder now has that path to playing time, and this opens up reps for Sean Dolak, who I know I'm high on. A lot of you in the comments are high on Sean Dolak as well. So because of that, Dolak has a bit of more of a chance to make this roster. And we also have cornerback Akella Witherspoon. His calf injury, he is now reported back in practice, back in pads, which is great to see, because that was a very concerning injury early on here in camp. And another cornerback, Emmanuel Forbes, who's vying for a roster spot, has a hamstring injury and is out 1 to 2 weeks, meaning as of right now, he would miss that Saturday preseason game, which is in a week from today. So again, that 1 week mark does equate to today, so we'll see if he plays in that game. But that is a big miss for him if he can't play in that game, especially because it looks like he's been playing pretty well throughout camp. And safety Cam Curl has an ankle injury right now and is week to week. Again, Cam Curl's a guy I'm not as high on, but he is a guy who has NFL experience. He did make a couple key plays in the playoffs, so we'll see what that means. And that Jalen duo, Jalen McCullough and Cam Kitchens, I should say, the Cam and Cam duo, I think will be split up in that starting lineup this season. Comment that down below as well, what you think of that. An interior offensive lineman, Dylan McMahon, has an ankle injury, who's day-to-day. An interior offensive lineman, Bo Limmer, who's a very important depth piece for this team, has an elbow injury and is day-to-day. Now, I'm not a huge Bo Limmer fan, but obviously we do not want to see this happen to any player on any team. And that is a key loss for the Rams, who do have that left tackle question right now with Alaric Jackson. And right now, the interior offensive line depth is pretty good, and a day-to-day injury doesn't concern me really at all, meaning that Bo Limmer most likely not going to miss any time in the regular season with this injury. No word as onto that right now. And while it appears that the injuries on this list may be extensive, the team is not overly concerned at the moment. But that is based on the belief that players are healing, and will be back. Of the 9 players with no medical issues, 2 players are already back in action. Yes, that is a very, very important note that 2 of these players are already back in action, because it shows that they're recovering fast and that these injuries most likely won't linger into the regular season, and they'll have the reps to have that confidence coming the regular season time to be able to play at their highest level when it matters the most. Obviously in the postseason where it matters most, but for the regular season, for a lot of players who are making their debuts and younger players, that is where they'll get to see their impact felt. And the team is being smart. If this were a must-win game situation or the NFL playoffs, I would venture a guess that all but Jackson would suit up to play. The latest Rams injury update from head coach Sean McVay was a mixed bag, but of note is the positive progress shown by the offensive lineman. McVay has indicated that Jackson's recovery is going as planned, and that is a really, really big note to hear. That Alaric Jackson's recovery is going along as progressed, and he's on his plan, and he's doing everything he needs to do, as he obviously is. But again, with this recovery, it means that this left tackle cloud that's been hanging over the Rams really ever since early June, when we all found out that he had these blood clots, at least the public, that it is definitely a win for the Rams that Jackson is making any sort of progress at all to playing, it looks like, most of the regular season. Because that week-to-week injury, who knows? In 2 weeks from now, he could be back doing some more 7-on-7s. And that would be great for this Rams team. Like this video right now for the Rams injury recovery, because it seems like for a lot of these players, it is starting to work for them, and they are starting to heal. And now we have, for now, fans have no reason not to trust that the team will have all projected starters suited up and ready to play in Week 1. Until then, we wait and enjoy training camp. And as always, thank you for reading. Well, I can agree with this for right now. Again, Alaric Jackson is the one that I'm not as sure on. We'll play Week 1. I think he'll be back by Week 4. That's just my estimate. I'm not a medical professional, but that is my estimate, that if he's not fully ready because the blood clots are such a serious issue, that he will not come back early at all to risk blood clots coming back so early on, right after he's healed them. And now we have to get into some fun moments from today's practice and some noteworthy moments as well. And this is brought to us by Rams Wires. The Rams did hold a practice today in the late afternoon, early evening here on the West Coast at Loyola Marymount University. And Jared Verse greeted Aaron Donald today, and Verse was seemingly caught off guard when he saw Donald at practice, likely having flashbacks from the torturous workout Donald put him through this offseason. Jared Verse, right when he saw him, laughed and was like, no. As in, he probably thought there was another workout happening. The video was hilarious. It's all over the Rams social media if you have not seen that one, because that one was really, really funny to watch here earlier today as they greeted each other. It also looked like for the first time since the workout, and I don't blame Jared Verse for the reaction based on how he said the workout was, because my God, that looked very, very tiring. But this is just a nice moment. I like this video for Aaron Donald, being around the Rams practice, showing love, as that is always great to see when former players show love to their teams, especially when they win Super Bowls with them and have these great relationships with their young players and are committed to helping them grow as well. And now here's where we have a bit of an issue to talk about here to end off this video. Kyren drops another pass that turns into a pick. Kyren Williams dropped a pass earlier this week that resulted in an interception by Quentin Lake, and it appears it happened again. The video is underneath this in the Rams Wire article if anybody does want to watch that, but this is a bit of a problem because, again, Kyren Williams is in extension talks currently with the Rams. We know some extension talks that have been going sour with Terry McLaurin and Micah Parsons, with those two players asking for trades from their current teams. I don't think that's going to happen with Kyren, but this is kind of unrelated to that. Kyren being a running back who wants this big extension worth over $10 million, think of the guys that are getting paid like that. Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, Saquon, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey. Derrick Henry's not going to be used as a receiving back much, but he can be when asked to be. And to pay a running back that $12, $13, $14 million range, you need him to be a dual threat back. Again, guys like Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs, who are going to be extension eligible next offseason, are going to get their money a lot sooner because they're elite dual threat running backs, and Kyren has not necessarily been that in the NFL. And the Rams have come out and said that Sean McVay, Mike LaFleur, to expand that playbook to that 12 personnel does make Kyren more of a receiving threat as well, and that would add to his overall game, which I do agree with. But looking at his receiving stats in 2024, 40 targets, 34 catches, 182 yards, and 2 touchdowns, only 5.4 yards per catch. The 182 yards on 34 receptions is not great. Again, he's a running back, so his routes aren't going to be as deep down the field, most likely, unless if you're a guy like a Christian McCaffrey or Le'Veon Bell type, who were just such elite receiving backs, and McCaffrey still could be this year. We have to wait and see on that, but this is definitely a potential issue for the Rams. Again, I don't think if he drops a pass in the game, all of them are going to turn into picks. Those are just kind of coincidences. I'm not concerned about that. Good plays by the DBs, but that's not going to happen every game or every time he drops a pass. Like, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about him not necessarily having the hands right now to be that guy who can run some reps in the slot, because that's what Kyren has said he wanted, and that's what the Rams are said that they are going to try to do to help use this 12 personnel more. And if Kyren right now is still dropping these passes, the Rams can't run this offense effectively. Obviously, Ferguson is out today right now. Again, the groin injury doesn't seem to be serious, but we will see how that is as this week goes on. But for Kyren, the big thing is he worked on that grip strength to stop those fumbles from the running back position, that he may have neglected the receiving part of the drills this offseason. I can't say that for sure, but this is definitely a little bit of an issue right now if the Rams do want to solve this 12 personnel. Again, we've seen some players have drop issues in the preseason, most notably Jamar Chase in 2021. I remember in the preseason he couldn't catch a ball and was awesome as a rookie and has been awesome ever since. So no reason for concern there. But another one is the Quentin Johnson situation, where Quentin Johnson has had drop issues so far throughout his entire career. A huge make-or-break year for him, for the other LA team. But I think this is going to be in the middle of those two extremes, that Kyren's going to have better hands in the regular season than he has now. It's training camp. Let's not overreact, but let's not underreact. This is a something. If we were playing something, nothing, or everything, I would say this is a something, just because this is something the Rams really want to do to open up their playbook for this upcoming season. And that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Thank you very much for watching. As always, make sure to hit that subscribe button, as we are on the road to 4K subscribers. We're just under 30 away. And leave a like on this video for the Rams playing their first preseason game in less than a week. Make sure to like this video a week away from today, but the game time, the actual start time, is in less than whole week. And leave a like right now as well for the injury recovery process, because a lot of players are going through it and it seems like it's working for some of them right now. And leave a comment down below your thoughts on the Matthew Stafford and Kyren Williams situations, as well as how some other injuries could potentially affect the depth chart, like those to Emmanuel Forbes and Poopole Jr. I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh, as always. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Rams Digest. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one, and have a great rest of your day.